Disclaimer, I mean no disrespect to any organization, any syndicate, or any cartels here in Mexico. My only intent is to inform our viewers who are planning a move or are already living in Mexico to stay out of the way. Cartels in Mexico have existed for many generations, but this generation, the current cartel as we know it today, began in 1987 with the Sinaloa Cartel.
In 1987, the entity we now know as the Sinaloa Cartel was born. From Ismael Zambada Garcia, Hector Palma Salazar, Juan Jose Esperanza, and Joaquin El Chapo Guzman. The Sinaloa Cartel in Culiacan, Sinaloa, whose predecessor, La Federación, aka the Guadalajara Cartel, was driven into extinction by the U.S. and Mexican governments after intense infiltration operations during the late 80s. The most notable operation following the murder of DEA agent Kiki Camerano.
Enrique Camerano Salazar, special agent of the Drug Enforcement Administration, was conducting an undercover investigation in Guadalajara, Mexico to smash a ring of drug traffickers. He was kidnapped, tortured brutally, and killed.
So what is a cartel? A cartel is an association of manufacturers and suppliers with the purpose of maintaining prices at a high level and restricting competition. My people, the cartel's reach is very deep in Mexico.
Pedrino was recruited at the age of 17. He was a car washer. The cartel gave him a job and a weapon and $1,200 a month for his sworn faithfulness to his employers. I'm going to talk to our informers to find out what information they have for me. Hey, what's up? Is everything good? Have you seen anything? All right, stay up. A lot of the lookouts are miners, and they earn 8,000 pesos a month, Mexico's minimum wage.
And there are consequences to what you say and what you do in and around the cartel. Because of that, there's a certain way you need to navigate Mexico. We're looking at the cartel as one big organization. The Guardian estimates that they would be the 5th largest organization or company in Mexico with upwards of 175,000 employees. An entry-level position into any cartel is known as the Falcon or the Hawk. And their main responsibility is to be the eyes and ears on the streets everywhere. Their game is reconnaissance. So they are looking around and they're reporting back.
We're standing in the middle of Fifth Avenue, which clearly a lot of tourists come to, but this is also cartel country.
Yes, exactly. Well, this is one of the most lucrative avenues in Valle del Carmen, and many of these places work for criminal organizations. There are thousands of people who work for the cartels, and they're just regular people. Their job is to keep their eyes open and to report to the leaders what's going on in busy streets, in hotels, in bars, in restaurants. Sometimes it's an old lady who looks really sweet and she's just selling chewing gum, but at the same time her job is to report what's going on to the cartels.
What this means is, do not sell any drugs. Honestly, don't go looking to buy drugs. Don't participate in any illegal activity within Mexico, and above all else, mind your business.
Kiki Camerano, a DEA agent who went after the Guadalajara cartel in Mexico. Kiki was captured and tortured. They skinned his legs, put a bullet in each limb, used an electric drill on his head till he died. What the fuck were they thinking? They could kill an American government agent and get away with it? Uncle Sam doesn't fuck around. The cocksuckers paid in blood. They went after them so hard, every single narco in the world got the message.
As soon as these people begin to fall from what was the Guadalajara cartel, things begin to fracture.
The Guadalajara cartel was crushed and splintered under the pressure from the DEA, and from the ashes, the Sinaloa cartel was born. This faction rose like cream to the top and stayed there for decades, until a young lion was born, hungry and ready to be crowned.
Organized crime is deep in Mexico. There are over 150 cartels currently active in Mexico today. But of those 150 cartels, there are some top players. There are the upper epsilon. Of the upper epsilon, there are 5 transnational hardcore players out here. Of those 5, there are 2 majors that are literally duking out through the streets of Mexico and all over Latin America. Those are the Sinaloa Cartel and Cartel Jalisco Nueva Generación. The Jalisco New Generation Cartel is by far the most aggressive, the most violent, and the most active in Mexico.
Under its founder, Nemesio Asigurera Cervantes, the fugitive kingpin El Mincho. This organization has grown from a splinter of the Millennial Cartel to a transnational organization involved in all facets of criminal activity.
It's clearly an elite group with military training at its origin.
They are present in Europe, North America, Central America, and Mexico.
The New Generation Jalisco Cartel now controls the port of Manzanillo and parts of Michoacan state.
Polo Ruiz, Assistant Special Agent in charge of the Drug Enforcement Administration in Arizona, says the CJNG is ruthless in their quest for money and power. They now control 24 of Mexico's 32 states, with the firepower to back it up.
These individuals are individuals that, quote unquote, they call them sicarios, trained assassins.
The Jalisco New Generation Cartel's calling card is a paramilitary extreme form of violence, known for beheading, mass murdering, and governmental intimidation.
There are particular lines and boundaries that you just do not cross. For example, do not provoke the cartel. Another issue is if for whatever reason you find yourself with information about a syndicate or anything involving their business, do not divulge it. Now, there have been several instances where people have crossed this line. And here are a few examples of TikTokers, YouTubers, who've said just a little bit too much.
Mexican singer Peso Pluma canceled his concerts in Tijuana after receiving several death promises from CJNG. They delivered their message by hanging signs over the sides of bridges all over Tijuana, a public declaration, letting Peso know that if he came to town for these concerts, that he would die. According to the death promises, this was all due to his disrespectful tongue singing ballads to their opposition.
Leslie Montenegro, known as her YouTube persona Nana Palucas, often reported on funny commentary, political criticisms, as well as events going on in her city of Acapulco. Unfortunately, she was gunned down in a restaurant that she co-owned because she allegedly published insider information about a local cartel. Journalists risking their lives.
After a second Mexican reporter was killed in a week.
Mexico is more than just a harmful, dangerous, and toxic environment for journalism activity.
Underscoring the country's status as one of the deadliest for journalists outside a war zone.
Attacks on journalists are part of Mexico's larger problem with narco violence and the constant turf wars between rival cartels and corrupt political bosses.
Because again, they aren't looking for you. If you aren't crossing them, if you're not kind of walking the wrong way, you should be okay. It is relatively safe here, with the exception of some key hot zone areas like Culiacan. Be aware of what the hot zones are, Tijuana, Acapulco, and understand how to move through those areas. In other words, don't be there if you don't have business there. What I'm saying is,
A lot more locals are affected by cartel violence than foreigners are.
Citizens throughout Mexico have had to form militias in entire municipalities because the government is ill-equipped, inept, and completely corrupted in many areas. They have been forced to live under treacherous, maniacal, and perverted dictators.
why did you agree to work with the narcos? If you refuse, they threaten your family, your wife, your children, your father, your mother, and you. That's why I participate.
Mexico has a major problem of people going missing.
Say a bad word about the wrong person. Be suspected of cooperating with police or a different cartel. Have property or land or anything that the cartel wants, and they will disappear you. These disappeared posters decorate the monuments in Guadalajara, Mexico City, and many other major cities. And the locals are telling us that the police are doing nothing about the people that are missing.
Yo busco a mi hermano Jorge Guadalupe María Hernández, que desapareció el 21 de enero.
We don't back one cartel over another. We arrest all the criminals.
People in Sinaloa don't believe that. They don't speak publicly about it either. The mothers of the disappeared. They accuse the police of failing to investigate their cases because of links to criminal groups. Worse, Maria says her son was arrested by the police and handed to kidnappers.
In many ways, there is, in my view, competition in brutality right now.
Esa es una de las cosas. The new generation is sick. The ones who kill, the ones who send them to kill.
Many police have died fighting the cartel. There may be some politicians with integrity someplace, but in Mexico, the seeds of corruption have very deep and perverse roots. Anyone appearing like they are going against the machine is flirting with a very real danger.
Mexico is a different culture. It's a different way of life. There are different dangers here. There are different joys here. I'm not trying to steal your joy. I think Mexico is a magnificent, fantastic place. But I think that there are some areas and some people who are extremely dangerous. And it would behoove you to understand who they are and where they are.